and a very warm welcome to Political Economy with Shweta Punj. Well, Indian government's E20 fuel policy, which is 80% petrol and 20% ethanol, has become a political flashpoint for the BJP government. It has sparked massive consumer unrest and backlash over alleged mileage drops, engine corrosion and insurance claim denials. While the government defends the program as a way out for India for cutting back on its oil imports and emissions, critics argue that the older vehicles are unequipped to handle E20 fuel. To understand the whole controversy, to understand what does this mean for consumers, to understand whether India is indeed ready for these future fuels which have been actually rolled out in other parts of the world, I have with me Dr. C.K. Jain of Ethanol Grain Manufacturers Association and Mr. C.S. Vigneshwar from the Federation of Automobile Dealers Association. Thank you very much, Dr. Jain and Mr. C.S. Vigneshwar. Namaste. Namaste. So, who would have thought that ethanol will become such a big flashpoint, because it has been rolled out nearly 5 years before schedule, and there have been murmurs. You would hear sporadic complaints about E20 fuel. I had interviewed Mr. Gadkari as well, and he had said that these complaints are from vested parties who don't want ethanol to be rolled out, ethanol blended fuel to be rolled out in India. I want to begin by asking you, Mr. Vigneshwar, there have been viral videos showing that ethanol blended fuel actually causes damage to vehicles. So I want to get a sense from you on how safe is this ethanol blended fuel for vehicles. There have been concerns raised around dropping of mileage, engine corrosion. Are you hearing that from customers?
Well, Shweta, once bodies like the OEMs and let's say the government and oil marketing companies, all three of them come to us and tell us that something is safe, we take it for granted that it's safe. We as dealers, we don't have our own technical prowess to invest billions or millions in terms of testing these the fuel or testing the vehicle in terms of its components. Once the government and the OEMs come and tell us this is what it is and it is safe to do whatever we need to do with the vehicle, we go ahead and use it and we go ahead and sell it to our customers. So we don't have technical prowess, but these government agencies, oil marketing companies and OEMs, when they tell us something is safe to use, we trust them and we take them for it. Another thing is that there's a lot of noise in the social media, but when we look at our own dealerships, we have different dealerships for different manufacturers. We don't find customers come to us and tell us because of E20 fuel, my car or my bike or my three-wheeler has had an effect. So let's ask them. We trust government and the OEMs to give us the data and the vehicles and we sell it to our customers. So until now, we haven't had anything major happen to our customers.
Okay, but you've said that until now you've not had anything major come up. However, we've seen these videos that are doing the rounds. So when our customers asking you questions around the compatibility for E20 fuels, are they asking for vehicles which are compatible to these future blended fuels?
So I think all the vehicles which are coming right now are compatible for E20. Customers do ask these questions because they do hear these voices coming out from social media. They do ask us, and we do tell them exactly what our manufacturers have asked us to tell them, saying that these vehicles are safe and these vehicles are compatible for the E20 fuels, and we can still run them safely.
Okay, all right, Dr. Jain, you're representing the Ethanol Manufacturers Association here. Considering we've seen a massive uptick in ethanol production capacity. In fact, the way that the industry has grown, it's been phenomenal. Because if you were to look at the situation, say from even 5 years ago to now, we are looking at a surplus situation now. A lot of one, I want to get a sense from you on how in terms of ethanol grains, how have we diversified so far? It was earlier only sugarcane, but now we are using different sources to manufacture ethanol. What's been the diversification like, and currently what is the supply looking like?
Yeah, uh, earlier the ethanol, I'm talking about 2018 before or 2020 before, it was only the sugarcane molasses based ethanol. Till that time, only the blending was 1.5%. When the government made the policy, after the complete study for 4 years, from 14 to 18, they studied, they tested on road, they did everything. Then they declared the policy of introducing in our country 20% blending. At that time, the target was 2030. But in 2020, they revised it to 2025 and gave many incentive for development of grain ethanol industry. You see, grain ethanol industry is the one which is catering to the 70% of the requirement. Presently, the requirement is around 1,200 crore liter per annum. So out of 1,200 crore, 800 crore, 750 to 800 crore is being supplied by the grain ethanol. Now you say, what is the difference? In ethanol, there is no difference. Either it comes from ethanol, from sugarcane, it comes from surplus rice, come from DFG, it comes from maize. Technically and chemically, it's the same. If it comes from sugar, there is no sugar left in that. So the question of your social media, yeah, here I want to tell you one thing. Please don't say consumer is a social media. Social media is separate, consumer is separate. You are also consumer, I am also consumer. You yourself tell me how much problem you are facing because of E20. Social media has picked up this subject against the government, not against the ethanol. They have picked
Okay.
up this subject against the government. You must be seeing that all the opposition party have funded it, have started giving against this. So it is against the government. Whenever a government gives a better policy, there is always a opposition. But after
So
some
you're
time,
representing the industry. You're representing the industry. So
yes,
so
yes,
I will take
I am
your
affected.
point of view
I
with
am
a fistful of
affected.
salt. Yes.
Yeah, I'm affected by this social media. So far, the government would have gone up to a roadmap of E30.
Right.
So industry is set up for E30, industry is set up for E40,
So
but
let me
we
bring
are
in Mr.
stuck up with
Vigneshwar.
E20.
Yeah, let me bring in Mr. Vigneshwar here. When we talk about automobiles, Mr. Vigneshwar, is the industry geared up for these flex fuels? We heard Dr. Jain say that the industry is set up for E30, but right now we are seeing such a massive pushback even for E25. So, are automobile manufacturers also gearing up to build their engines and cars to work with the new fuel as efficiently as possible?
Shweta, this technology is not new, and we're not inventing anything in India regarding this fuel. This has been existing throughout the world. Brazil operates at even, I think, 80% plus ethanol blend, if not pure ethanol, I guess. So this technology is existing everywhere and it's been implemented everywhere. So manufacturers would have the technology, and oil marketing companies also have been able to supply this kind of fuel in many parts of the world. So we're not inventing anything here. It's actually something which has already been implemented somewhere else. We are trying to implement it in our country. See, at the end of it, what's the intention of it? The intention of it is to get away from fuel dependence outside, to make sure that we are able to depend upon our own sources as much as possible, which we absolutely support. And we also support our customers' voices, which actually talk about their concerns regarding their vehicles. But to assure them, even manufacturers of fuel and the manufacturers of vehicles have actually come out openly and said these are fuels which are safe to use in these vehicles. So beyond which, I think these two people are the cornerstones of keeping a fuel safe for a vehicle. So I'm not going to doubt their intentions and their technical prowess in proving that their vehicle works with the fuel supplied by the oil marketing companies.
Right. No, so no one is really questioning the safety of the fuel. What the concerns that are being raised is, one, the way it has been implemented. It's been brought in much before time. Secondly, what the consumers have been concerned about is that there hasn't been enough consultations that have happened, and it's the way the rollout has been very quick. And thirdly, that consumers are not being given a choice, because in other countries consumers are being given a choice, but here consumers are not being given a choice. Do you think, Mr. Vigneshwar, that those are valid concerns? Should consumers be given a choice between picking up the fuel, the kind of fuel that they want to use for their car, or a two-wheeler?
Choice always exists, and I think choices always are good. But I'm not in a position to comment on these things because I don't make a decision on these things. I don't make a decision as a government, nor as an oil marketing company, nor as an OEM. So we are dealers here, and we are given vehicles to sell, and we end up selling it. But you mentioned about choices. Choices always are good. Consultations are always good. So I'm sure that the industry and the government would have sat together and come up with this idea, because I think way back in 2022 or 23, this whole roadmap of introducing ethanol blended fuel was already spoken about amongst the industry representatives. I don't think it's news. It's new news. It's something which has already been brewing for quite some time. And but you can always do better. All of us are not perfect. We can always do better. So we need to see how we settle the concerns of our customers, because they've bought vehicles worth lakhs of rupees, and it's an investment for them. So we as dealers, we are there. We are the front face of the manufacturers, and we are here to assure the customers that their vehicles run better, because that's what our manufacturers have told us. That there won't be any operational issues for the vehicle. There won't be any issues regarding the repair or any deterioration in the vehicle. So we are here to assure the customers, because that's what our manufacturers have told us about the vehicles.
Okay, so what have the manufacturers said, Mr. Vigneshwar? Have they come to you with that? Yes, there have been some mileage issues that have come forward with this. Are they working with you on creating some educational materials for the consumer? How are you pacifying consumers? How are you bringing them on board? How are you increasing that communication between the manufacturers and the consumers on this?
So as FADA, we represent about 30,000 outlets throughout India. It can be a two-wheeler, four-wheeler, different kind of vehicles. And we're all there. Manufacturers have given us a message to tell customers that their vehicles are safe to run with the current fuel available. And these are things which we do on an everyday basis. For example, manufacturers trust us for servicing their cars of the customers. And we also make sure that we educate the customers regarding insurance. When you compare health insurance and motor insurance has a much, much higher penetration. That's because of our every day engagement with the customers. So we educate the customers in terms of how to run their vehicles. And in case they have questions, manufacturers have given us training to go talk to customers. Some of these education materials are being prepared by a lot of manufacturers, because a lot of these concerns have come up in the last week or 10 days, but I'm sure they'll be having it properly done and given to us within a few days or a few weeks.
Okay, all right. Dr. Jain, considering ethanol is a very water intensive fuel to manufacture, and a lot of these grains are very water intensive, can you give us an idea about the kind of water footprint that's needed for ethanol grains?
What should I? You see, the ethanol industry is responsible for the water when the feedstock enters its plant. How much water is consumed in converting from grain to ethanol is a concern. That is not 10,000 crore liter per liter. That is only 5 liters per liter. And now the industry is moving to with 3.5 liter per liter.
Okay.
If you calculate how the grain is using the water is on part of ethanol, that is a wrong thing. What do you want from your farmer to do? They want to grow only for food, or they should grow something for their economy, their income to improve, something surplus for the industry also. So the most of the water is consumed in the agriculture, not on ethanol. Mind, you see, it's a totally farmers program, farmers income improving program. Only the food will not suffice the farmer's income. Farmer has to grow first for food, then for industry. So whenever it grows for the industry, so that is a farmer's part. And moreover, the ethanol use, the feedstock for ethanol is mostly rain-fed. You mean kharif crop, rain-fed, where the crop is grown in rain-fed area when the rain comes. So in that area, it is a natural rainwater harvest. 50% of the water used in the grain or the sugar cane is rainwater. It is not a groundwater. So that is natural rainwater harvest. So please divide this grain, whatever is water is consumed in grain, it should be treated separately, and whatever water consumed in converting from grain to ethanol should be separate. We should talk about that only, not for the grain which is grown by the agriculturists, by our farmers for making his livelihood.
Okay, because there have been concerns that excessive growing of ethanol grains, ethanol crops can really deplete the water table. I just have some numbers here with me that rice, for instance, requires, if you use rice for ethanol, it requires 10,790 liters of water per liter of ethanol. Then you have maize, which is 4,500 to 4,600 liters needed per liter of ethanol, and sugarcane is 3,500 to 3,600 liters of per liter of ethanol. That's the amount of water we need for 1 liter of ethanol. So yeah, are the manufacturers also looking at ways to cut down? If you can, you hinted on that you're looking at bringing water usage down. Can you elaborate on the kind of measures that you're taking to one, address water contamination worries, because consumers and petrol pump dealers have also said that ethanol has a tendency to absorb moisture, which can lead to a phase separation in fuel tanks. So is that something that you are looking at addressing proactively? And also usage of water, because for a country like India, or in fact any country right now, water is at a premium. So how are you addressing these two pain points?
Number one, you see, you are saying 10,750 crore liter per liter ethanol. That's a wrong thing. I'm saying 5 liter to a liter. Rest is going for growing the grain. And what do you want? Ki our farmers should not grow the grain. What do we want? Let us first talk about it. Ethanol is responsible for feedstock conversion to converting to ethanol, not for growing the grain. What do we want from our farmer? You तुम भूखे बने रहो.
So how much of the
You should
economic
not.
benefit is going down to the farmer?
Yes,
Is there some data to show?
100%,
Yeah.
100%, 100%. Last year only, I mean, I'm talking of 2025, when there was a blending of 18-19%, we saved 40,000 crore rupees in foreign exchange. And where it went, it directly went to the farmer, because 70% of the of our raw material, our production cost is paid to the farmers. It is directly going to the farmer, directly going to the rural economy. So what best you want to? Your water is there, water table is there, you have lot of river, you have everything. But your population, 60% population is agriculture. You have to increase their income. Only food will not increase their income. They have to produce the industrial produces. So why the ethanol is made culprit of the grain grown in the agriculture and club that water into the ethanol is failed to understand. Then we should not grow the sugar cane. We should not grow the. We should only grow that much which is used for food. We should tell our farmers, no, 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 we have sufficient food, don't grow anymore. You just be idle. So that is not a way. You have to tell me, grow more. We'll give you the venue to consume it. So this ethanol is a venue to consume these surplus things. It is not against food. It is surplus things. All surplus, sugarcane, whatever surplus from sugar, that is diverted to ethanol. FCI rice, whatever is surplus. Even now it's 400 lakh tons is surplus after diverting to ethanol. What do we say to the farmer? You don't grow. You don't grow. Any government or any person, any citizen can say to the farmer, you don't go, sit idle in your home. We can't say, you grow more, we'll give the venue that it is consumed. So all this, your figure of 10,000 liter, 50% is a rainwater harvesting. 50% is rainwater harvesting. And even maize, it is 100% rainwater harvesting. So we have to be very rational while debating about ethanol. We have to work on the scientific reasons which government has done. Nothing has been done in haste. Nothing has been done overnight. It has given, they have studied for 4 years, 2014 to 2018, then policy came. All these notions are really ill-founded. They have no technical background.
Okay, let me bring in Mr. Vigneshwar. Mr. Vigneshwar, in terms of common service complaints that might be coming to dealerships, how much are they, ethanol related? And do you see, have you come across problems such as clogged filters or starting problems? The kind of problems that we've seen being highlighted on social media, have consumers come to the dealerships with such issues?
As far as my knowledge goes, nothing has come to us. It's a very short answer. It's a lot of things happen in social media, but to us, as far as my knowledge, nothing much has been reported to us. There are a few instances where you have seen adulterated fuel actually impact a vehicle in terms of how it runs. But very, very honest, as far as my knowledge and my association's knowledge, nothing has come to us because of E20 fuels.
That's interesting. And how about, for consumers with perfectly good older cars, and there have been concerns that have been raised that they might not be able to run as efficiently on E20 and other flex and with other flex fuels. So Is there, I mean, are they coming, are consumers coming to maybe get their cars retrofitted? Is that an option available? Are there retrofitted upgrade kits available to get older cars to, become viable for the E20 fuel?
Not in my knowledge, there's nothing called retrofitment for getting ready for E20 fuel. Some time ago, a few days ago, I think we had the top manufacturers also come up and clarify that the cars which are also built earlier than that can run on E20 fuel. So, as I'm telling you, I don't have an opinion on this because I haven't seen instances happen. And have been told by our manufacturers that you are free to tell the customer that their cars are good to go, even with the E20 fuel on older vehicles.
Okay, this is a question to both of you, Dr. Jain and Mr. Vigneshwar. Is it possible to have like a dual pump system where you have different options of fuel available, because that is how it is done and that is how it has been done in many parts of the world. So, Dr. Jain, is that something that you want to make a recommendation?
Yeah, I will tell you. You see, there's everywhere, all nation in the globe, they have a policy that our base petrol is what? Either it is zero or E0, E10 or E20. Most country has given the base petrol is E10 or E20 or E25. I mean base petrol. If I go to in that country, I will not get E0. Without without ethanol, I will not get the petrol. I'll get the base petrol, which is in our country at present is E20. You are right, there are concept of two nozzles everywhere, where the flexi-fuel vehicles are very popular. In our country, the flexi-fuel vehicles are being introduced now. So government has opened oh, government has opened another fuel pump where they are dispensing E85. They have planned to open 100 fuel pumps E85. There will be two nozzles. One is base petrol, that is today 20, and another is E85. What does it mean by this? E85 is 20 rupees cheaper. So you can select when your vehicle is flexi fuel vehicle, you can select either I get E20 or I get E85 or I get mixture of both. So there are two nozzle concept over the base petrol. It is not from zero. Look, I'm also telling you one thing. There are 100 petrol pumps who are giving this was also experimented by the government, who is giving zero ethanol. That petrol is selling rupees 146 for 2 years, last 2 years. Who will buy that? So ethanol has made the petrol cheaper. Government has given the highest subsidy during these years. During these months after February, they have given big subsidy. They are losing, our OMCs are losing 75,000 crore rupees per quarter. So these are all subsidy going to the people. And the two nozzles are base petrol plus higher petrol. And that works with the flexi fuel vehicles.
Okay, so you're saying that the government is opening 100 petrol pumps which will give E20 and E85. Do we have a timeline for that?
Yeah, this year they are doing 100. Within 2 years, they have said 5,000. But we have got more than 1 or 2 lakh petrol pump. So it will take time. It will be gradually increase.
Okay, and
So that is the
E85
timeline
would be, and I'm sorry, can you give us the composition for E85? That would be 85% ethanol and 15%.
85% ethanol, 15% petrol. Yes.
Okay, and our refineries already have that to be able to.
Oh, yes. Yes, I tell you, we have got enough surplus feedstock. Surplus feedstock, I'm telling. For surplus grain, surplus sugarcane, which can meet the requirement. Presently, we are supplying around 1,200 crore liters. We are capable to do 2,400 crore liters. Even now, our feedstock is there, capacity is installed. It's only waiting for the government policies and the adoption of flexi fuel vehicles and higher blend. These
Okay.
are the waitings we are doing there.
Okay. And Mr. Vigneshwar, where are we on the flexi fuels vehicles front? Do we see a demand, an increasing demand of that? And could you take us through, what's in the pipeline on that front with the manufacturers?
A lot of manufacturers are talking about flexi fuel. But when we look at it from my point of view and from the association's point of view, I think choices need to be given to the customers, whether it's flexi fuel, EVs, hybrids, CNG. And just to note, in our automobile sales, the passenger vehicle last month, CNG, hybrids, and EVs constituted more than 40% of the sales, overall sales. So I think flexi fuel is important, and different other technologies need to come in, and energy sources need to come in, so that we need to be because all these technologies are developing at a fast rate. We never know which is going to win at the end of the day. So we need to offer this to the customers. The OEMs also need to bring different energy source vehicles, and I think in that way we'll be developing different technologies. And at the end of the day, whichever the customer wants, the customer buys. So having different options available to the customer is extremely important.
Okay. And so, we are still in the early stages where the flexi fuel market is concerned, Mr. Vigneshwar.
Yes.
Yes. So what's the question?
Any idea as to by when will we see progress on this?
No, not a clue. It all depends upon the government policy, the availability of fuel, and also the customer's willingness to buy E85s if it is available. But these technologies, as I mentioned before, is already available in a lot of other countries. I did mention Brazil. Brazil, there's for many years there's been E85 fuel and the E85 compatible vehicles available. So this is not a new technology in any which way or form. So it's been proven elsewhere, and it all depends upon whether our customers want it in terms, and the customer would consider mileage, the customer would consider the cost of the vehicle and the cost of the fuel, and the customer makes a decision based on all this.
Right. And so what we are hearing is that the government could defer the rollout of E25. Is that something that you're also hearing, Dr. Jain?
Yes, we are also hearing it all by the blessing of the social media. The benefit of the country is going away by the blessing of the social media. I'll put it like this.
Okay, if you think that, well, I don't know. Should we be letting social media determine our policies? That's another question. I mean, if you think that only social media is responsible for it, maybe in hindsight, could there have been better conversation? Could the consumers have been, taken on board before the implementation? Any idea, Dr. Jain, by when will we see the rollout happening, or how long how long will the delay be before E25 is rolled out?
Yeah, you see, there is a certain problems. I think it will be overcome by this year end. Definitely it will become, testing is going on as per our knowledge. Testing is going on roads, whether our existing population of vehicle can take it up or not. So all testing are going on, and then I feel that these will be over by this year end, positively. So we expect that within those things. You see, one thing also about social media I want to say, it is not the making policy, but it is opposing the policy. So that makes a difference. That makes a difference.
Okay.
And it has no scientific background at all. No, you have the dealer with me in this podcast, in this. He said he has never got any complaint. His association never got any complaint about E20. What else you want? What else you want? I even ask you, do you have the problem with E20? My cars, they don't have the problem with E20. Then why social media is crying is I will say it's a vested interest going on to oppose the government, oppose the policy. I'm sorry to say this.
Okay. Mr. Vigneshwar, in terms of cost affordability, there is a view that these fuel flex vehicles would be more expensive, and now that we have E20 compliant vehicles also coming in, so do you think that India has the demand? Will Indians be spending that kind of money for a fuel flex, or will they prefer to go with something that's more cost effective, at least when they are buying the vehicle? Of course, then there are cost advantages to cost and environmental advantages for a flexible fuel, towards ethanol blended fuels and so on. But do you think there is a market for more expensive vehicles which are fuel efficient in India?
Shweta, I would always say power to the people. We need to let the customers decide on what they want. Let's offer it to them. I don't know how much the cost is going to go up in terms of making a flexi fuel vehicle. I hope it's not too much, especially when you're mass producing vehicles. And my whole concept would be we offer this to the customer and let the customer decide. The market forces should be deciding on what is good for them or not, but the options should be offered. So I certainly believe there's enough space in our growing economy where different customers want different things for different applications and their own usage patterns. So there's space for diesel, there's space for petrol, there's space for flexi fuel, there's space for ethanol blended petrol, there is space for hybrids, and there is space for EVs. So there is space for all these vehicles. We are still a growing country. Our energy requirements are high. We need to take the energy security also into consideration. So there are a lot of permutations and combinations which need to be considered, and the options need to be given to the people. Power to the people, let them decide on what is required. Also, at the same time, keeping energy security in mind.
Do you think there is need for maybe some consumer incentives? And Dr. Jain, now this is a question for you also. Do you think we need to incentivize this further? Barring the price advantage and just not giving people an option, because Brazil had incentivized users to adopt ethanol blended fuels. Is that something we should be doing as well?
Yeah, we have started doing that. As I told you before, the E85 is 20 rupees cheaper. And
but that's E85, yeah.
E85. And if you look at the base petrol, which is E20, which is selling at around 100 rupees in Delhi, its real price should be 120 rupees. Government is absorbing the excise. They gave the excise exemption. They are absorbing 75,000 crore rupees per quarter losses. It should be a real cost should be 120, not 200 rupees. Ethanol blending has made it cheaper.
Okay, fair enough.
What type of more incentive is required?
Should we have built a better ecosystem? Should we should have had fuel flex vehicles on the roads right now? Because right now you're introducing the fuel, but your fuel flex vehicles are still, the introduction is still at a very early stage. There are hardly any models out there.
Both are going together. Maruti Suzuki has rolled out. They have already sold more than 200 cars. So they have rolled out. So gradually, it's a gradual movement. Petrol pump has to be there. Dispensing facility has to be there. Infrastructure for that is there. It needs lot of funding, lot of space. Everything is under consideration, and things are moving. And at the same time, automobile manufacturer also need time to convert their engine into the flexi fuel vehicle. Although technology available, they are all working in Brazil, where it is most successful program. So they have the technology, they know how to do the engine, everything, but it is going to take time gradually. Infrastructure for double dispensing will also grow. Industry, we will also be aware, and consumer will also be aware that it is going to be cheaper. Another thing is the automobile manufacturers have asked, and we have also recommended, that they should also be treated at par with electric vehicle as far as GST is concerned. That is making it expensive. So
Okay,
Government
so
has
GST.
to GST and other taxes has to be at par with electric vehicle. Then it becomes the incentivized. That is incentive, direct incentive to the consumer. Then it will be further grow. And another incentive the petrol pumps are giving 85, 80 rupees versus 100 rupees. Difference is 20 rupees, 20%. It's quite significant difference. If my vehicle is compatible, I will go for that. I bought one vehicle from Maruti and working on that.
Okay.
Excellent, fine.
No, that's a fair point. As in, to debate the to debate the environmental reasons and to debate the economic reasons for ethanol, I think there are enough reasons for that. Because India is an oil dependent country, and our vulnerability was really highlighted right now with the West Asia conflict. So we need to be exploring biofuels. However, the way we have gone about it, I think that's what has really irked consumers. Brazil offers a great template, because what they did was they built an ecosystem of fuel flex vehicles before, and they implemented policies in a very phased manner. They also were very clear about giving consumers a choice, something that India is still catching up on. My last question to you, Mr. Vigneshwar, in terms of you said that the dealerships have not received any complaints that you know of in terms of damage that has been caused by E20 fuels, but anything on say erosion of parts or rubber or any of those concerns that have been highlighted, one, and secondly, what's your outlook on demand for future fuel flex vehicles? Demand outlook?
I really don't know. So it all depends on the customer. I'm not, as a soothsayer, trying to predict what's going to happen in the future for the customers. There is so much of opportunity. All I can tell you is, let's say India, per 1,000 people, our car ownership is in the 40s. When you look at Norway, it's well past 800. So in terms of an opportunity, it's huge. There's enough space for everyone to play in terms of different manufacturers coming here, in terms of different technologies powering these vehicles. And so there's a tremendous opportunity for everyone and a lot of technologies to partake in
Yeah.
the India growth. That's number one. Number two, as I told you, we haven't received any issues as yet regarding any major failures. So I really wouldn't be able to answer which part, plastic or rubber, fails when it hasn't been reported to us.
And you've not received any complaints on drops in fuel efficiency?
Fuel efficiency is naturally, it is going to drop. The calorific value of petrol and ethanol are different. So definitely there's going to be an impact in the fuel. As the other gentleman had told us, it can be compensated by a drop in the price of fuel. He said instead of being 100 in Delhi, it would have been 120 had it been 100% petrol. So considering all that, I think there would be a drop in mileage for sure, at least to my knowledge. And that's something which we need to consider whether it's a good trade-off versus a price of 100% petrol.
Right. All right. Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Jain and Mr. Vigneshwar, for putting this whole controversy in perspective for us. So, one, for a country like India, which is fuel dependent, ethanol and exploration of biofuels is the way forward. We have to think of that. It's environmentally better. Having said that, there are a whole host of questions that need answers. One, how much of our water table gets depleted with the production of ethanol grains? I think there needs to be more clarity and more transparency on that. Second, could the government have gone about introduction of E20 and higher grade of ethanol blended fuels in a more phased manner? Did we need a better ecosystem before these alternative fuels were introduced? Often, an example of Brazil is quoted to us. Now, Brazil did it very, very differently. They built an entire ecosystem, and the policy was rolled out in a very phased manner, taking consumers on board. They created demand for future fuel flex vehicles, after which they gave options for flexible fuels. They incentivized the consumers with the blended fuels were more cost competitive than the counterparts and so on. So could we have gone about it in a more phased manner, something that the government is thinking of now? They're thinking of holding off the rollout until the ecosystem comes into place. So could they have done this better? Because the fact is that there are concerns, whether you call it social media outrage, whether you call it consumer pushback, but those concerns have been raised. We heard Mr. Vigneshwar talk about fuel efficiency going down with ethanol, which is expected. Should the consumers have been informed about it when they are paying for a cheaper fuel? They need to be told that fuel efficiency of your vehicle is going to get impacted. Should there have been a better communication campaign around introducing ethanol blended fuels to Indians? A lot of questions there for the policymakers and a lot of food for thought. Well, with that, it's a wrap from all of us here, but we will keep tracking the big policies that India is working on, that are getting implemented in India, right here on Political Economy with Shweta Punj. Thanks so much for watching. We'll be back with more next week.